Okay, I'm off to visit the Queen. I've taken a wrong turn already. I should have turned left at Albuquerque. How do I get so lost?
Guy in coach B, anyone in coach C, D and G to...
Hello. Hey. Crazy, there's a red bus. An English double-decker. Lost again, lost again. Unbelievable. I don't know what it is. Yeah.
How did you find England then, mate?
On a map. Well, I got on the plane.
No,
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. And you're lost again, oh great white tracker.
Yeah. I'm lost.
Oh dear, I'm lost. I think I'm lost. Am I lost? I see a squirrel. I see a squirrel. He just ran off. No, what are you doing? Lying on that sofa again like a bilious creature?
No.
You're obsessed with Medbourne now. Get it out of your mind. Medbourne's got nothing to do with this at all, right? Remember that.
Oh my god, that's a camera. Dad, that's a bee.
There's 4. There's 5 and show a bit of bravery. Well, that was a disaster. Didn't get anywhere near it. It's the thought that counts, though. Have a look at the size of this thing. It is insane. What a building. Well, it's time for a shower and debriefing, or debriefing and a shower. Are you sure it's that way? You've been dreadful with your directions so far. Do you want to just check?
I know it.
Oh, I know. It's what Custer said. I know where the Indians are. I don't need you to tell me. To know God in Christ and make him known in words and deeds. A church has stood on this site since Saxon times. The present church's dates from 1090, was extended in 1340, restored after fire in 1545 and 1897, and after a bombing in 1940. Bishop Lancelot Andrews served as vicar of this church. Oliver Cromwell was married. Oliver Cromwell was married here, and he burnt down the manor house in Foxton when they were after Charles I. Oh, wow. At last, here it is. I'd say that's rebuilt up there in the brick from the 1940. Take a photo. So I'll get you to hold that. He would be shocked if he turned up here. He wouldn't know where he was. It'd be like being on another planet, but there's the church that I was married in.
Does this record sound as well?
Yeah, so be careful what you say to me. Can we just go a walk around first? Wow. This is it. Oh, what's this here? Hang on. Look at this. I wonder what this is. Whatever it is, it probably had some kind of statue on it, and it offended some blue-haired person. They ripped it down.
How dare you!
It's like a parapet wall, isn't it? Do you know why that's gone blue? You are a smart girl, you see, I've always said that. Here's more of the wall. So this would be 1090, 1100, 1920, 900 years old. Now why have they crushed that word out? That's interesting. Someone's found an offensive word there and removed it.
How dare you!
I can suspect her, Lucy. I suspect everyone. Trust no one. Suspect everyone. Now what does that say? I'll take a picture of this. I think, because I can translate it later. Would you like to hold that for me, darling? Talk to the people if you like. So hello.
Does it film me as well?
Yep.
Right now.
360 degrees. You are not safe. Beautiful. Oh no, that was loud. Did it break?
No. Never break.
What? Never heard a phone make such a loud noise. What is this guy doing? Well, you make me look like an amateur, don't you? Hey, what have you been doing?
Doing a about Chaucer, isn't it? Yeah.
Chaucer.
Yeah.
My grandfather fought in Belgium, was blown up, 14 pieces of shrapnel, carried off the field, taken to London, 6 months to recover, married the nurse that looked after him in this church.
Wow.
That's why I'm here.
My granddad was injured on the first day of the Battle of the Somme.
You what?
My granddad.
Oh, on the Somme.
Because my mum's dad was a lot older than my mum and my granny, basically.
Yeah.
And he spent 4 years at St. Peter's Hospital.
4 years, man. Well, he's lucky to survive, I'll tell you that. I think most of the Australians were wiped out
He was
at
only
Bretoncourt.
17 as well.
It's terrible, isn't it?
Was that?
That's finals.
Sydney, Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I moved here from Des Moines.
Des Moines, that's where they come from. Five Dock and Des Moines. You know,
Yeah, 5 Dock Library.
yeah. Luckily,
Now my daughter goes to school here.
wow, that's amazing.
We know about 25 miles. My ex-girlfriend was Australian, so
Yeah.
she was from Tamworth,
Tamworth.
country music capital of
festival,
Australia.
Isn't it? My son won the state rugby championships in Tamworth a couple of months ago.
Congratulations.
Well, hey, he's a good boy. So they got married here, but he was. I always thought he was lucky to have got injured in 1917, because if he lasted till 1918, he could have got the Spanish flu, gone back home, and killed every tailor in Five Dock.
Yep, exactly.
So it was probably better that he got an early release.
The Lord works in mysterious ways sometimes.
And God bless him, I say.
Yeah, my mum kept the records from the War Office, where her grandfather had written to the War Office saying, "My son's on the front line in France. He's only 17. He shouldn't be there." And they sent back a copy saying, "Well, I've got a facsimile copy here of his signing up papers," and it was his uncle that signed up saying he was 18. So it's split the family down the middle.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. See you later.
Yeah,
Bye.
have a great day.
We allowed to go in?
Yeah, absolutely. Huh? Yeah, all churches you can go into. You wouldn't know that because you don't frequent them. Wow, she can sing. Stains. Take one.
Why do they have this gutter thing in it?
Martin Frobisher. John Speed, what did he do? Milton, it's Milton. I think he's some kind of poet. Who's this guy? Defoe. That's Milton again, Milton. Cromwell. That's Cromwell, eh? And who's this fellow? Bunyan. Stains. Take one. Right here, one for me. Oh, did you get two?
Both do it.
I was going to go like that.
No, that's the most fun. It's so boring.
And here is Lucy, honouring the Queen. God bless her. Good girl. Hello. Is there some kind of wedding going on here? Is there?
It is.
My grandfather married my grandmother here in 1917.
Oh, really?
That's why I'm here.
Have you had a good look
A
round?
very good look. I've taken a picture of it.
Good.
Well, I don't think it looked the same when... I think they might have bombed it in 1940.
The vicar wants to change it.
But most of it's here. She was his nurse. He was recovering from Belgium, you know, the war.
Okay,
Yeah, and he married her in this very building. It's exciting, very exciting.
It's the first time you've been back here?
Huh?
First time you've been here?
Absolutely. Yeah, I did my research. I'll be back tomorrow morning for the service. I'm just trying to find out what time it'll be.
Is it on the...
Good luck.
Oh, there you go.
Good luck.
Good job.
Nice to meet you.
Bye-bye.
You got morning prayer at 8:30. Parachute first. How long does church go for?
An hour, usually with the Anglicans. 58 minutes exactly.
Okay, well I'll come get you at 11.
Yeah, okay.
Or you meet me at mine at 11:30.
Oh, you lazy little creature. It looks like they're preparing for the service. I heard these people singing yesterday. They are amazing. Absolutely amazing. Right, I'm glad that I'm not late. There's two organs here. There's this one here and there's this one up here. So they have two pipe organs. There's more of the wall and some kind of parapet. Geez, they've just built out here crazily, haven't they? Well, this is part one of my grandfather's journey, defending the United Kingdom, the British Empire, fighting in Belgium in the worst fighting of the First World War. That'll be in another episode. I'm sitting here outside the church. These very stones he would have gazed upon as he took his bride into the church to marry her in June 1919. Later went back to Five Dock, the Drummoyne area, and became a shopkeeper at the local store and post office. And then he got an exemption for his two sons. Why wouldn't you, after fighting in the trenches of France and Belgium and being gravely injured? Wouldn't you? He got what's the word for it? He applied for his two sons not to have to go to war because they were performing necessary functions. I'll think of it later. But he got permission for my father and uncle not to have to go to war because they worked at the post office with him. So, of course, they both went off and enlisted in the army. My father was scheduled to go to the Middle East. That would have been bad. But when they lined up in this massive hall ready to embark. He had his shots and everything. They were ready to go. Someone came in, praise the Lord, and said, ask everyone with a driver's license to step forward. And remember, these are young men, and cars weren't that popular, but my father liked riding bikes and cars, so and driving cars. So he was one of the very few boys. The boys, they're like 20 years old, 18, 20. Stepped forward, said, I have a driver's license. So I think there was, out of the hundreds that were there was a handful. I think he said 5 or so stepped forward, and they were ordered to go with them. And he ended up driving trucks up to Darwin, from down here up to Darwin, from here, up in London, from Sydney area and other places, and get the transport and get all the gear up to Darwin to support the fight in New Guinea. He was there when the Japanese attacked and bombed it, and there's a big photo of him sitting on a log, which I'll show you, that Liz found when she went to the museum there, the Tunnel Museum in Darwin. Right at the end of the exhibit, there's a huge poster of him. I've been trying for 4 years to get a copy of it, and zero cooperation. I'll try again when I get back, but I can show you that. I've got a photo of that. So he didn't go overseas, but he was certainly under attack when they bombed Darwin. He was there shooting at the planes with a 303. And my uncle, unfortunately, he was in the Signal Corps. So they went to West Australia to practice, to train. They came back from West Australia, and he was in Sydney when the Japanese subs attacked Sydney and all the alarms went off. My mother was much younger than that. She was only like 10 years old, but she remembers she lived in Paddington, and she remembers the sirens going off when they thought the Japanese had come into the harbour. They had some small subs had come into Sydney, and they gave my uncle a flashlight and said, go to the North Head and see if the Japanese have landed. Fancy sending one man with a torch. I mean, a torch in the dark is just saying, here I am, shoot me. And he said, I've never been as scared in my life as that time. And he had to crawl up through the bush onto North Head and down the front. And fortunately, there was no one there. And he came back and reported that. He was in the Signal Corps. That's why he got that job. So then he gets sent to New Guinea, and that was a terrible, terrible time. They had to walk up the mountain, and because he was a signaller, he had a crate of pigeons, because that's how they sent messages back down the mountain to the base, forward and back, with these pigeons. And unfortunately for him, because he's carrying a crate of pigeons that were constantly cooing, the Japanese were always shooting at him because they could hear him. And at one point he did receive a bullet through the hat. God preserved him, there's no doubt about that. And he had terrible mental problems all his life. Like, he was even when he was in his 80s, he was going to a psychiatrist paid for by the government. And my sister used to take him there for his meetings, and she said he'd come out and he'd be crying because of the terrible things that he saw. And it wasn't so much the fighting, it was the state of the Japanese, because at this time they were forcing the Japanese back away from Port Moresby, back to Gona and Boona beaches, and they pushed them back all that way. He said they were eating human flesh. He said we would get into a village and there'd be body parts boiling in pots, but they've just run off because we've pushed forward. So he was part of the element that pushed them back out of New Guinea and fought them all the way back. It was just a terrible circumstance. And you know, from that time, whenever my uncle saw a Japanese tourist or hitchhiker, he lived up north on the beach, just off the main highway. So he saw, you know, in the decades to follow, whenever he saw Japanese tourists backpacking, I think he always invited them to his house and let them stay there and refresh themselves. It was a terrible, terrible time. And something I didn't have to go through. The only thing I had to do was fight for Australia in the karate, which was not anywhere near as dangerous. And let's hope we don't get to that point that we have to, you know, go to war. I mean, this Ukraine rubbish most definitely started by NATO. You know, these evil men that start the, oh, here I go, I can't help myself, maybe I'll have to edit this out, but you know, it's not, the common man doesn't want to go to war. The common man has never wanted to go to war. You know, and the people who start these wars and finish these wars and have all these people killed are sitting behind a desk somewhere. Kudos to the king, like King Richard III, who fought, and maybe Charles I. At least they turned up to the battle and fought the battle. Not these days, these sneaks that cause all this trouble for power and control and greed. You know, we've been very blessed to have a queen that was so godly. So we'll wait and see what happens now, but I say God save the queen. The future is yet to be decided, isn't it? The City of London Girls' School, St Giles Terrace. And if they need a guitar teacher, or an archery teacher, or a self-defense teacher, all these things I'm an expert of. What's the difference between the truth and a conspiracy theory? I'll give you 10 seconds to think about it. I'll ask you again. What is the difference between the truth and a conspiracy theory? I'll just play 10 seconds of thinking music. What is your answer? The correct answer is 6 months.